Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for the new moon look at the new moon, which is occurring on December 7th, 7:19 a.m. Eastern Time. Times are going to vary depending on your location. This is Vickie, the Rock and Roll Prophetess, and thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be a psychic reading, and I use the chart to focus on as a focal point. It's not necessarily straight astrology, and if you're an astrologer, I may veer off the path of traditional astrology by quite a bit. Okay. So here is the chart. I've not looked at it 1 minute. Here's one thing that I did. I've been running the charts for next year because I like to. I do them all at once because I set it up with that zero Aries. This is a different kind of wheel. It's not going to be all astrology too. If you're not an astrologer, stick around. It gets psychic. I just start with the astrology as a jumping off point, and then we get rolling, and then more and more comes through as we progress. But the zero Aries, that's not the actual. The ascendant is conjunct Saturn actually, so the ascendant is somewhere over here in Capricorn. But I use the zero Aries just so it's easier to illustrate my points of the house systems and everything. But I don't normally run charts like that. So I've set up my astrology software with the zero Aries, and I go ahead and I run all 24 charts for the coming year. And I've been noticing, this is at 15 degrees, which is smack dab in the middle. A sign goes from 0 to 30. They're all going to be, for a while, like halfway through 2019, we're going to have 15-0, 15-0. And then this next one, I know this full moon in Cancer is 0 right after the solstice. And the last full moon that we just did the reading on was 0. So it's going to be 0, 15, 0, 15. So this pattern is setting up, and it's going to continue, I think, at least through about half the year of 2019. So that's something to contemplate. But here it is, 15 degrees of Sagittarius, right smack in the middle. Jupiter's in Sagittarius, but I wouldn't call that a conjunction. That's a really wide orb of 9 degrees. But it is making some aspects, and let's check it out. Is it not? Yeah, it's squaring off with Neptune and squaring with Mars. And so we have a T-square going on with Neptune and Mars. So here's the, they're conjunct. It's not a T-square, it's just a square. We've got Neptune and Mars conjunct. This is some really kind of topsy-turvy energy is all I can really say about it. Mars and Neptune together, these two planets couldn't be more different. Mars is fire, action, the god of war. It's all this getting charged up, running into battle. And then Pisces, Neptune and Pisces, which is rulership over, so it's the same energy, is so mellow and not motivated to run out and do anything. Pisces is just like, let's just chill out, man. Let's just take it easy. Let's just see how it plans out. Let's watch a movie. Let's do some meditation. Let's, do some art and creativity. So it's a really, really different kind of energy. It's almost like Mars. Well, Mars is this like so subdued in there. It's finally direct, so it's gonna be trucking right on out of there. And it'll be in its own sign of Aries soon. But it's so dampened. It's fire. Mars is fire, and its fire is put out in Pisces, especially when it's conjunct Neptune. That's even more water, more Pisces energy, just tamping that fire down and putting it out. So we may not. We've got a new moon. We might feel really motivated, but we might not be able to do much about it, or just be so tired out and just like, oh, I can't even drag myself up to do this. I just want to lay home and Netflix and chill and veg on the couch, or listen to music, or catch a buzz, or all that stuff is Neptunian. The Neptune energy is really strong, even though Mars is fire, and the new moon in Sagittarius is in fire also, fiery. Sagittarius is about taking the high road. It's about seeing things from the higher perspective. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so it's really, this is the energy that we're looking at here, Sag and Jupiter energy. And just like Neptune is in its own sign, so is Jupiter, so is Saturn. So a lot of these big planets are coming home to roost kind of in their own sign. But, you know, it is about higher education. It is about, you know, the thing that Neptune and Sagittarius, Pisces and Sagittarius energy have in common, it's very spiritual. It would be a great time to start some sort of new spiritual practice, or learning on it, learning about it on your own. Excuse me. Excuse me. I had a cough. I thought maybe take a drink of water would stop it, but it didn't. Yeah, maybe you're gonna, you know, take a course, an online course, perhaps, or even just on your own. Maybe something, anything that sparks your interest, that is on the lines of spiritual creativity, outside the norms of, outside of your norm. Because Neptune and Sag are both very much outside of the norms of society, but you know that's a moving measuring stick there. You know, what's outside the norms for me might not be outside the norms for you, and vice versa. So it would be outside the norms for you. Sometimes people, you know, get more religious at this time of year with all the holidays that are going on. They're all religious and based, pretty much, you know. So maybe you're, you know, you're not a religious the whole year, but you go to church for, you know, Christmas or temple for Hanukkah or whatever, you know, whatever it might be, different holidays. So that could be. It's a time of discovery, is what I'm hearing about it. It's a time of discovery. And with Mars, too, ruling all the war and all the disagreements in the world, it's a time of discovery. It's a time of understanding. It can be. You know, it really can be. If somebody is coming, much of the disagreements in our society and in the world are due to religion. You know, different religious. We're still fighting that battle, really? We're still fighting these religious wars, really? Are we really still doing this in 2019 almost? Well, apparently we are. And instead of just saying, oh my God, you're so stupid, you're so wrong, you're so primitive, you're so blah, 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 maybe with the Sagittarian energy, it might be about, you know of what you speak of. That's what I'm hearing. Know of what you speak of. Yeah, they're so primitive, they're so ignorant, they're so blah, blah, blah. Well, how do you know? Do you know one thing about their religion? Do you know one thing about their belief systems? Let's put it that way, even if it's not religion. Do you know one freaking thing about it? Before you knock it, maybe you should learn a little bit more about it, and learn about where they're coming from, and where it all comes from. What comes to mind, what they're showing me, is like, I don't know if it was Aborigines, it was some tribal people that were completely undisturbed for years, you know, not involved in Western society, stayed the same. And they worshipped this star, this constellation, you know, and they said that's where they came from and all this and that. And they'd been saying this for thousands, or since the beginning. And, you know, of course, these scientists and missionaries go in, and they're just like that dude, that missionary that was going to save this tribe, and look what they did to him, you know. Maybe they don't need saving, you know. Maybe that's that Pisces martyrdom and Chiron's back in there. Maybe people don't need saving, you know. Maybe they need understanding and compassion. But back to my story. I read this in a book years ago. But anyways, they knew they were from this star. Anyways, the star, when they were first discovered, the star wasn't even, Western society had no idea about this star. Like, these aren't correct dates, but let's say they were discovered in the 1920s. And then this star wasn't discovered till maybe the 1950s. But here's the thing, the star was exactly where they said it was. So these primitive, quote unquote primitive people knew exactly where some star was in the constellations that we couldn't see with telescopes till many years later, you know. So who's the primitive one, you know? Who's the primitive one? Who's the warlike one? And neither is right, completely right or wrong, but maybe by going into this ninth house, the Sagittarian energy, we can find some common ground. well, don't try to speak on something that you know nothing about. I can't stand that either. That really is one of my things that gets my dander going. You know, just this ignorant blibbering about, okay, first educate yourself, and then once we both understand, and I will educate myself on whatever you're coming from. I don't want to talk without knowing what the hell I'm talking about, you know? Just spewing out bullshit that comes on memes and the internet that's just bullshit. That's one of the things I mean, say what you want about Obama. I mean, he did some good things and some bad things, but one thing he would educate himself. If he would admit when he didn't know something, and then he would go find out about it. And then he could have an intelligent conversation. He wouldn't just start shooting out bullshit out of his mouth, you know? He would go and taking back an example would be the very, this is, you know, we're getting political, but this isn't, I'm just using this as something that everybody can kind of remember and understand. You can apply this to many different things in life. I remember the initial, when he was debating with Hillary. Why does it keep doing that? Some updates are going on, huh? He was debating with Hillary, and he knew very little about foreign policy. Well, the next debate came back, and he knew everything about it. So he wasn't going to, you know, just try to shuck and jive his way through it or put on this, you know, ridiculous display like certain people do. He went and learned what the hell he wanted to know of what he was talking about. And that's one of the things I really admired about him. You know, he wouldn't try to bullshit his way through anything. And, you know, there's a lot of bullshit flying around all over the place. And I'm not talking politics, because I'm just using that as an example because that's a public figure that everybody would know about. There's bullshit, and Neptune is the king of bullshit too. I mean, if you want to get into it, lies, deceit, illusions, that's the downside of Neptune, the Neptunian energy. You know? So there's plenty of bullshit flying around. Instead of trying to get, well, my bullshit is correct without even knowing. Just because, you know, so-and-so says it is, why don't you go figure it out? And I'll do the same. You know, I'm not trying to point a finger. If everybody would figure it out before you just open your mouth and start, you know, or even not even open your mouth before you get, because most people won't open their mouth, they'll just be typing away, you know, before you start getting, well, forget about how you express it, but the Mars is anger. The Mars is suppressed anger, rage, you know. Before you start letting that fester and brew and build and, you know, all this stuff, why don't you, you know, find the truth of it? So if it's a religion that you know nothing about, find out about this religion. You know, all the Muslims, oh, they're all going to be killing our children and rape, or the Mexicans are going to rape us, and da-da-da-da-da, or whatever it might be. Or the liberal snowflakes are going to, they want to take our guns. Yeah, that's another, you know, one. You know, whatever it might be, whatever you think they're going to do, and they're all about, well, maybe you should find out a little more about it before you start jumping to conclusions, feeding into your anger, letting the illusions of Neptune feed into your anger of Mars. There's an opportunity with the new moon in Sagittarius to really explore and learn. Yeah, maybe after you explore and learn all about it, maybe I'm sure there's things you still don't agree with. That's fine. But at least you're coming from a perspective of knowing what you're talking about, you know? There's so much bullshit flying around anymore, and this is a great opportunity to kind of cut through it. And, you know, with the holidays too. This could be maybe your relatives at the dinner table during the holidays. But, you know, I'm just using these different, I'm not trying to say anything about any specific religion or any specific political stance or any specific president. I'm just using these as examples because they're iconoclasts or people that are out there that are known things that we could use as examples. But this is definitely coming down into your personal lives, you know. Look at that Uranus. Look, well, we got the Chiron in there, so that's the martyrdom, you know, the victim. But look at that Uranus, 2859. But it's just, It's just that close to Taurus. It's retrograde, so it's going to go down. I actually have my 2019 book finally. Woohoo! And I've been using it for the 2019 readings. I'm grabbing it if you guys want to do a little reminder that those will be available for a little while longer. That Uranus is going backwards. I got too many ephemerises around here. Let's look at that 2019. Let's take a look at this. This is an ephemeris, for those of you that might not be familiar with that. This is a yearly ephemeris. It's going to go down. It's going to actually go direct in January. So it's really slowing down. You know, it's at 0, so it's getting ready to stop. But something about it was just like, oh, it's really, it's really amplified, I guess would be the word. And it's squaring with the nodes. So we're doing the Capricorn Aries square thing again with the Uranus Pluto that went on for forever. So it can be disruptive. Uranus wants to disrupt things. Uranus wants to shake things up, baby. We're going to shake it up. Shake it up. And it's in the sign of Aries. So that's that Mars energy again. So it's not suppressed at all in Uranus. That's the Mars energy, the Aries energy is not suppressed at all. It's running loose like a loose cannon. It's all over the place, you know. So it's being subdued over here, but it's ready to break out, and it's going apeshit over here with Uranus energy. That Uranus in Aries, that was some turbulent, we just came through that, and it was some turbulent times, and myself was really looking forward to Uranus in Taurus. I thought that things will really kind of settle down finally. But we're not done with it yet. We're not done with it yet. We're not done with the turbulence and the shakeups and the traditional roles of the male and the female. That's a lot of what this nodal stuff's about, okay? The Capricorn is the traditional, Saturn is the father, you know, the Saturn being Capricorn, you know, Saturn is the father, and Cancer is the mother, you know. Those things are going to be, they've been getting shaken up, and they're really going to continue over this next year and a half. Those are some of the things that we're really going to be examining. We're really going to be examining that as a society and as a race of these traditional roles we're going to redefine them. We're redefining them all the time. Gender, if you're born a woman, you don't have to stay a woman. Maybe you are a male inside. I feel like that's always tied to past lives. You know, I think, because a lot of times that was what will happen in reincarnation. You'll be a man many lifetimes, and then you decide you're becoming, because you're always wanting to achieve balance in your soul level. That's that soul rating too, if you're interested. That's kind of the thing. Not necessarily just gender, but those are the things that I look at, how you're achieving balance. And then so maybe this is your first incarnation as a female after you've been a male for many lifetimes, and it's difficult. It's a stretch. It doesn't feel right because you've been a male in many lifetimes. You chose to be a female in this life, but it's okay to bail on that. You know, it's not a sin. Ooh, it's a sin, you know. It's not a sin to bail on your life plan, you know, because you're charged. That's what a lot of that soul reading I look at for people too. You know, we bite off more than we can chew when we're in the spirit realm. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go down and have an earth incarnation, and I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna just be a woman this time. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Oh yeah, no problem. It seems so easy from the outside looking in. And then you get in the body, and in this war, this Mars energy of this planet, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell did I sign up for here, man? So there's like hardly anybody will achieve their soul plan. So it's not a sin. It's, you know, it's just kind of, well, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet on a soul level. That's what the that's how I view the gender reassignment. It's just like, you get here and it's just like, I still feel like a male, or I still feel like a female. I don't think I'm ready for this. And so maybe the next lifetime you'll be ready for it. You know, we switch genders all the time as we reincarnate, you know. But that got off track. And I didn't really get off track, because that's a lot of what this is about. And it's not just about our personal, you know, sexuality or gender, I don't know what you would call that, how we feel comfortable in our gender. But it's just our societal things. You know, there's more and more stay-at-home dads than ever. And by the way, the North Node is in Cancer. So the North Node is the direction we're going toward, and the South Node is what we're leaving behind. So the South Node in Capricorn is what we're leaving behind. And that is the really rigidness and the strictness and the patriarchal rule of the world and all that stuff. But the Cancer isn't excluding. It's inclusive. It's, and Uranus is inclusive. Uranus in Aquarius is very evolved and inclusive. But with the Mars, the energy of Mars or Aries involved with the Uranus, they're going to fight. They're not going to do it in a peaceful way. They're going to fight for it. They're going to speak out. They're going to stand up. They're going to speak out. They're going to revolt. There will be a revolution. Revolting. It might be revolting. I'm hearing all these German, somebody like talking in like a Germany kind of voice. Okay, let's move on to the Chiron, because that's another thing that we've moved back into. The Chiron has retrograded back into. Do I have Chiron in here? I think Chiron. They have a Chiron ephemeris in the back, just with all the asteroids. Because I wonder when Chiron is moving back into Aries. Because this is, you know, some, where is that? Don't they have a, oh, darn it. You know, that's been kind of, ugh. You know, that Chiron and Pisces, I've had enough of it already. I really have had enough of it. We've been wallowing in our sorrows and, you know, going down that victim road enough already. Enough's enough. Yeah, it'll go back into Aries in February. It looks like around February 18th. It's going to come back. It's direct already. It's going direct, well, as of January. And then it's going to take a while for it to get up there and get in. And then it's going to go retrograde, but it's not going back down into Pisces. But this has just been so... This is the oversensitivity. This is the over... can't offend anybody about every little thing. That's the Chiron, because I was wounded and I have these deep wounds over this, so everybody's got to be, you know, it's so, I mean, it's useful and it's helpful, but enough's enough. I'm ready to move on already. You know, it can get into some wallowing, and I think that it has, you know, and it's a downer. It's really a downer energy. You know, it's really a downer. I mean, it's good to explore your wounds and your inner child and do that shadow work. I come up with a good one, came to me the other day about the shadow thing. Because I can remember with a saying, but probably many of you have heard it. When I was a kid, my mom used to say, well, he's afraid of his own shadow. You know, he's afraid of his own shadow. Well, yeah, ding, ding, ding. That's exactly what we're afraid of. That's exactly what we're afraid of. We're afraid of our own shadow. I mean, and that was meant to be like a knock. Like what a wuss. God, he's afraid of his own shadow. What a wussy, you know. But that's the root of everything, man. Well, the root of a lot of stuff. You know, a root of our fears, our wounding. We are afraid of our own shadow. That's it. I mean, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I heard my mom's voice saying that. She used to say that all the time. Oh, he's afraid of his own shadow. Yeah. And it's funny, I've been seeing a lot of pictures on social media, people taking pictures of their shadows lately. I don't know if it's just me or if everybody. And it's just like, oh, wow. So instead of we're taking pictures of our own shadows now. So maybe it's kind of coming full circle. We want to look at our shadows. You know, we're taking a picture of it. I mean, people who are taking pictures of their shadows probably don't have one freaking clue that has anything to do with anything, right? They just, oh, look, it's my shadow. And they're selfie obsessed, more or less. But, you know, but I'm just like, oh, it's blowing my mind. It's like, yeah, we're afraid of our own shadow, and they're taking pictures of their shadows. So as a society, we're kind of examining that, maybe. Some people are. Maybe we need to more. But this wallowing, you know, it can be cumbersome. It can be too much. It can be, you can drown in it, you know, in the Neptunian Pisces energy. You can just drown in it, you know. At some point, you got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off, and you got to get back on that horse, or you got to get horse, Sagittarian, that rules over horses and centaurs. You know, you got to get back on that horse, and you got to try again. You got to forgive yourself, and you got to forgive others who trespassed against us. Now I'm getting into the religious. I live right across from a Catholic church. I think sometimes the spirits of the priests or whoever come around here. I don't feel bad. I don't feel real protective. I feel like they protected energy with it, but sometimes I start spouting out these Catholic poems, or what I call prayers. And forgive us who trespass against us. And forgive those who trespass against us. What is that, Our Father? I don't know. So that's not exclusively Catholic, but it's a Christian prayer. But forgive those who trespass against you. Yeah, I mean, you can't. I was thinking about that this morning. I woke up with that in my mind, of a certain person that I know. They have their grandkids, and the grandkid did something. I'm not going to say, well, it's a long story. But it was, you know, it was a shitty thing to do, yeah. But they, screw him. I'm never, you know, he is this. Every time I bring it up, I'm just, you know, well, how's the grandkid? Oh, you know, and this person is so miserable, and, you know, I want to just say, well, how's that serving you? How's that working out for you? If I never talked to my kids because every shitty thing they ever did towards me, I mean, the list is long. I would never talk to them again. But is that what this life's about? Is that what this life's about? Being shut down and hating, and all that does is you cut off your nose to spite your face. You cut yourself off from love, and love hurts. Newsflash, love hurts, right? And that's a lot of what the Chiron energy is about too. You know, love hurts. But forgiveness, to forgive is divine. That's what we're here to do. We're here to forgive. We're here to love. We're here to, and with the holidays, that stuff comes up too. Boy, does it ever. It comes up. They just showed me like a big boil. It's gonna pop with all kinds of nasty stuff in it. You know, it comes up. It definitely comes up at this time of year, and hanging on to all that bitter resentment, I mean, it's doing no one any good. You incarnated with these people. You know, the ones who hurt you are the ones that are the closest to you. You know, love hurts, and holding on to anger and resentment. How does that make you feel too? You know, like if we want to do, so many people want to do one-upmanship. Oh, you think that's bad? Well, here's what my kids did to me. You know, or here's what my grandkids. Oh, you think that's bad? You know, you want to do a one-up on the who's the biggest loser, or who's the biggest, you know, not the biggest loser, but you know what I mean, the biggest, who had it the worst. Well, you know, that's that. Oh, I had to walk 10 miles in the snow to go to school. You think you had it bad? Well, I'm the bigger victim. Who's the bigger victim? Da 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 ba ba da ba. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Who's the Biggest Victim? You know, I don't want to play that game. I don't want to be on that show. You know, that's not the show I want to be on. You know, we all fall into it. And you don't beat yourself up because you have fallen into it. But forgiveness is a big thing, you know. That's the highest expression and the highest form of Neptune. Forgiveness, love, a different kind of love. Not a possessive kind of love, that I'll only love you if you treat me in a certain way, or you behave in this way toward me, and this is what I expect of you in order to receive my love. No, Neptune is the highest form of love. It's from the angelic realms. It's from the high planes, man. It's way up there. It's beyond human comprehension. We can only aspire to be in Neptune love. And we probably can never achieve it. But, you know, we're only human. We fall into it. But the trick is not to stay in there, you know. The trick is to go to that Sag energy. Okay, we all fall down. We all fall down. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. What's that? That's some little kid's song. Oh God, I can't conjure the rest of it. I know it's some kind of patty cake. It's patty cake, isn't it? Patty cake, baker's man. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. One for my mommy, one for the maid, one for the little boy who lives in the lane. That's not even it. I don't know. We're getting off on all kinds of crazy stuff. But, you know, these childhood songs are coming through. And, you know, these woundings come back to childhood. And as an older person, as your own children or your own grandchildren, you know, it comes back. And I think that's part of why the childish little songs are coming in, the little childhood songs. What is going on over here? This is sextiling Miss Lilith. Oh, we didn't even see that. Okay. Well, Lilith and Aquarius, that's an interesting dichotomy too. I'm going to get a drink of water and we're going to look at this a little bit. Okay, so Lilith and Aquarius. Lilith was a vengeful person. Talk about vengeful, talk about holding a grudge. Wow. Did Lilith hold a grudge or what? Lilith definitely held a grudge. It's at that 13. And it's with the 13, 15. Well, 13 over here too. It's trining Pallas. So if you have 13 or middle of the road, that Chrissy Hynde song is coming through. Dun, dun, dun. In the middle of the road, yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, oh, oh. In the middle of the road. We might have to look that one up if I remember at the end, because we're definitely in the middle of the road, and this is a trend that's continuing. So we're in the middle of the road, but I want to look at this Lilith and Aquarius, because Lilith, she's a powerful woman. You know, Lilith and Aquarius, though, Aquarians are often ahead of their time, and Lilith was definitely ahead of her time, and she's like, I'm not going to be subservient to any man. I don't care what you do to me. I won't break. I won't break down. You won't destroy me. You won't crush me. She had a very strong will, and she was very powerful in a Mars-like way, in an Aryan way, but it expressed through the feminine. She was way ahead of her time, Miss Lilith. The new moon is there, so I think that this could be, how can we explore our power? We don't have to be the victim, the martyr, forever. How can we explore our power? How can we empower the feminine in a more enlightened way? In the sign of Aquarius and with this new moon in Sag directly aspecting it. In a more empowered way, in a more humanitarian way, in a more universal way. You know, the Native American culture, the pendulum doesn't have to swing. It doesn't mean, oh, we're going to go back to the old time of just the women are running everything. You know, they have the Council of the Wise, there's the wise women, and they all work together, you know. And that's more what this is leading to. And that's more of the Neptune, the universal love, you know. So that is, this is an interesting thing to do. Lilith is not tamed easily. It reminds me of like the taming of the shrew, you know, which is, that's, you know, if anybody wants to get in an uproar about some old time stuff, that's one that's, I mean, I don't know about It's Cold Outside. Everybody's worried about that song. But the taming of the shrew, that's, I find, think about that, that's highly, to me, highly offensive. Like looking back, that was programmed into me. I mean, I saw the play at school, we went and saw it, and then the movie with Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, you know, The Taming, and then she just becomes this little subservient, and that's the happy ending. Wait a minute, rewind, hold on, you know, so, but that's Lilith, she's the shrew, man, she's the fierce woman. And the fierce woman that's been suppressed, and maybe it reminds me of like you know, you see these videos of they find these dogs that are you know, and they're just like these dogs that have been abused, and they're just like, they scream when you touch them, and they try to bite you, and because they're just they're so damaged. I think Lilith was pretty damaged. Well, I mean, you probably would be too if you went through what she went through. So the feminine, the divine feminine has been damaged, you know. And with these dog videos, how they bring them back is, they bring them back through just patience, love, gentle, you know, not through taming of the shrew energy at all. Love is the answer. I mean, it's a simple truth. Love is the answer. And that's what Neptune in Aquarius is, in Pisces is trying to show us. And through Sagittarius, there's an element of intellectualizing it. It's because it's the opposite of the third. It's a higher expression of the third house, so it is mental. You know, excuse me. It's expressing it through our. It's bringing it down. It's channeling. It's bringing down. It's downloads from the lower monkey mind to the higher expression of Neptune. Sagittarius is the channel to go through, to bring it from the higher knowledge down into our third house of our everyday mind and our everyday until I think I need a cough drop, excuse me. Everyday expression of intelligence. You know, our regular mind here. Venus is in Scorpio. You know, I have Venus in Scorpio natally, so I relate to it. But that's not, most people are like, ooh, Venus in Scorpio, ew, cold bitch, just like Lilith, right? But, you know, I get along with people. Maybe it's just because that's my nature, but it's just they don't pull any punches. There's no coy head games. There's no silly, stupid stuff. It's just Venus in Scorpio is very real. Let's just get real, man. Let's just be real. I don't want to dance around it. I don't want to, you know, bat my eyelashes at you and be coy. You know, you like me, I like you. Cool. Let's hang out, you know. It's just very real. It's not, there's no games, you know. It's not like Venus in Libra, you know, very different energy. And some people don't like that. You know, some people can't handle that. You know, it's just like, wait a minute, aren't we supposed to do this little courtship dance or these rituals, you know, these old, outdated rituals? That's another thing about empowering the feminine. Venus in Scorpio is very much an empowering the feminine thing. And, you know, if you hear empowering the feminine doesn't have to express itself like Lilith, like you know, like the snarling dog that's been abused, you know. It doesn't have to be beastly, you know. It just has to be normal or on an even playing field. Not be greater than or less than, but equal to, you know. Just all humanity, human race, Aquarius, you know. Okay, let's jump over. I want to show you. Let me look up that middle of the road, too. I want to show you my chart, by the way. If you want to get that year ahead reading. It's a little astrology. It's more psychic tarot. It's available. If you're interested in all that past life stuff in the nodes, I do. That's the, I got a ton of different readings, but that is the Soul's Journey reading, where I do that. I look at your chart. And I have all the cool art that's available, what's based on your chart. This are the more involved type, and then I have the glyphs, the astroglyphs that are more affordable, and then the mandalas are very involved. So do check that out, and I have t-shirts and all sorts of stuff. But let me, what's the middle of the road lyrics? I want to just see that for a minute, because I just can't get that out of my head. Chrissy Hine, the Borba Pretenders. We're going to look that up, and then we'll do our final look over on the chart. I want the lyrics of that one. Usually the lyrics comes up right away without having to say it. The middle of the road is trying to find me. I'm standing in the middle of life with my plans behind me. Well, I got a smile for everyone I meet. As long as you don't try dragging my bay or dropping the bomb on my street. Now come on, baby, get in the road. Oh, come on now, in the middle of the road, yeah. In the middle of the road, you see the darndest things. I like that. Like fat guys driving around in jeeps through the city, wearing big diamond rings and silk suits. past corrugated tin shacks full with kids. Oh man, I don't mean a Hampstead nursery. When you own a big chunk of the bloody third world, the babies just come with the scenery. Oh, come on, baby. Get in the road. The middle of the road. The middle of the road is no private cul-de-sac. I can't get from the cab to the curb without some little jerk on my back. Don't harass me. Can't you tell? I'm going home. I'm tired as hell. I'm not the cat I used to be. I got a kid. I'm 33. Well, there's some interesting stuff to chew on in there, isn't there? It's definitely a observation of the inequalities of society, you know, and these rich fat cats who don't give a crap about anybody. I used to always use that line, the babies just come with the scenery. I'm reading that as I never really read it. I just always thought it meant when you're in a band or you're a musician. I used to say that to people. Well, you know, when you're a musician, the babies just come with the scenery. Meaning groupies, you know. But I guess it means something. I learned something today, too. It means something completely different. You know, it's just scenery. It's not real. You know, it's like the people walking past the homeless people on the street, you know, just stepping right over them, you know, ignoring, because it becomes so commonplace that we lose our heart. That's Leo energy, but the Neptune, we lose our compassion. So don't let the anger and the drive and the ambition, all the things that are here are being accented. You know, don't let that, don't lose your compassion. And I pick up so strong, it's just this stuff where we just think that people are stupid. You know, because they don't see things the way we do. So if you don't do some research and find out about it, you know, all Muslims aren't murderers, you know, all Republicans aren't this or that, you know, Mexicans aren't going to come and rape you, you know. There's a wide variety, there's a full spectrum of people walking around on this earth, and anytime you try to categorize or they're wrong or without knowing of that of which you speak, you know, make sure you know what you're talking about before you run your mouth, basically, you know, no matter what it is. And try to have compassion. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is so key. Many people are going to be put in uncomfortable situations over the holidays. You know, you might have to sit in a room or sit at a table with somebody that you freaking hate. Somebody that you've been carrying a grudge around for however many years, your whole life. And that might just come right up to the surface with that Mars energy. It might just be there. Neptune, Pisces, Neptune, 12th house is things from the past too. Things that we've forgotten. Things that we've painted over. Because we paint it over, it's a coping mechanism. We paint it over so we can cope with it. Some of it's so ugly and so terrible that we can't even look at it, you know. And maybe looking at it, that shadow, afraid of your own shadow, you know. And maybe looking at it isn't, looking that much into it isn't, I mean, there's value in that, yeah, but dwelling in it, maybe it does more harm than good. Maybe it's forgiveness. You know, from a higher perspective, you know, from a soul perspective, they chose to play that part. I think it was one of the channelers said, this was the best analogy I've ever heard of physical incarnation. It's like when you're a kid and you go outside and you play cops and robbers. Well, you're going to be the good guy and I'm going to be the bad guy. And then you come back in and we're all friends again, you know. That's what our life incarnation is about. Now I'm hearing there ain't no good guys, there ain't no bad guys. There's just you and me and we just disagree. And that is true too. Okay, wow, we were going really long here. All right, everybody, so thanks so much for tuning in and everything that you do to support me in the channel. I do these twice a month. If you want to find out more about my website, it's up above or below. There's also links to Patreon and different things. If you have trouble finding me, hit that subscribe button, and I post every week roughly, twice a month with the astrology, and then I post the tarot readings also. So please do tune in. I mean, it's been a great run here. I've been doing YouTube for several years, and I look forward to doing more in 2019 with the help of you and your support through liking, sharing, commenting, sharing, subscribing, purchasing my different wares. I have all sorts of stuff, so please do visit my website. Remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Have a great new moon, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. 444.